get the Prego wife some food because she's hangry, I think, or on her way to being hangry. But I thought I'd talk about like what happens after you get accepted to med school and the process that I'm going through right now. So I got my acceptance call December 1st, 2016, and not too long after that, you have a fairly beefy email that you get with all the so you're basically admitted to the school, but you have all these a checklist basically that you have to check off about 90% of all of it before you can actually get your official admittance to the school. And the first thing I would recommend you start doing is the immunizations. The immunizations can take quite some time. Quite some time to get all the paperwork, especially if you've moved around. You have to talk to multiple county health departments. That's where I originally had to get my records from. Luckily, I already had them, but I had to go to the local county health department to get my initial vaccine records that I had back in the 80s and 90s. So depending on where you lived when you were a kid, it can take a while to get those records. Also, some things to think about, you're going to need probably at least a flu shot, probably maybe a Hep B booster, tetanus booster. I got a Tdap, so it's tetanus and diphtheria. And I got a MMR. My MMR I was up to date on my MMR vaccines. I got all 3 of them. But you have to get a titer drawn for the school I'm going to. And my titer came back that I I didn't have positive immunity for mumps, I believe it was. So I had to get another booster on top of that. So yeah, the immunization part, I think that's the first thing you need to work on. The second thing you need to work on is putting down your deposit. Some schools don't even have deposits. Maybe a $50 deposit could be like I don't know how high they go. My initial deposit was $500, so I put down that deposit. A couple other things you're gonna need to get drug tested. My school gave you it gave me a total of 4 months after I got the acceptance letter to get drug tested. But you want to get that done as soon as possible just to get it out of the way. And also a background check. All this is usually done online, and I think the drug test and the background check costs right around $64. So you're talking about spending $120, $130 just on those 2 tests. And then, of course, final transcripts. If you're taking any classes in the fall, or fall and spring, basically, you're going to need to send those as soon as you get your grades. I'm having to send in my biochem class now, in the process of doing it. And that can take some time too. I think my deadline for that is 6/1/2017, so a few months before school starts. Trying to think of the other ones. There's a medical release form. There's like a demographics form you have to fill out. Or there's quite a bit. Yeah. Also, thank you for pulling out in front of me. There's also so you apply for your loans. There's 2 sets of loans. Just the general FAFSA loans, then you can apply for your Graduate Plus loans. The application cycle for the Graduate Plus loans just opened up on April 1st, so I just applied for that and got a letter back saying that your credit's fine and you've been accepted for this loan. Trying to think of the other ones. There's a lot of small ones, a lot of forms you have to print out just to sign saying you understand the rigors of medical school and that you are physically and mentally, spiritually capable of handling the difficulty ahead. You got to sign that, and you have to read they send you a PDF of their academic policies, code of conduct policies, grading policies. You got to look over that. I think mine was like 70 pages long. Lots of pictures, but it doesn't take long to go through, but I highly suggest you go through it. I'm sure they'll go through it completely and wholly during orientation, but it's just nice to know the grading policy ahead of, before you get in. It's nice to know, how you, what things are going to get you in trouble in school. But yeah, so that's pretty much that. It's not too difficult to get everything done as long as you start early. I was warned about the immunization just because that's usually the most time consuming. Oh yeah, and you have to have a physical. So you have to go to your primary care provider and get a physical done. And the immunizations have to be done before that paperwork can be signed, because your PCP has to sign off on the immunization paperwork saying that it's valid and you didn't forge all your paperwork. So yeah, that's the majority of what you have to do after you get into school. Some people have mentioned on like the SDN forums, don't study at all. Don't, because some people ask, what's a good book to read before you enter medical school, and they said most people say don't read anything medically related. Well, I'm a nurse, so I like reading medically related stuff. I like watching medical related shows. Just got done watching an episode of Trauma: Life in the ER, and if you're looking for a book to read, I read a book a couple of years ago called Trauma Red, and it's a really, really good book. It's medically related, but it's more like it reads more like an action related book, or action oriented book. It's about a real life trauma surgeon and his trials and tribulations as a new trauma surgeon over in Iraq during the opening of the Iraq War. So if you're interested in reading something about medicine, but interested in military medicine or something with a little bit more action, and not just reading the USMLE books or Panthoma or something like that, I would give Trauma Red a try. I have no idea how much it cost. I think it was like $20 back 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, I'm gonna make one more video here in a couple hours probably, and after that I'm gonna take a break on videos for a couple months, because this channel is supposed to be about my experience in med school, and I'm not currently in med school yet. So I've been making videos about my nursing career. But I'm going to make one more video on my experience as a critical access ICU nurse a couple years ago in Montana, and then I'm going to take a break and hang out with the wife and the baby bump for a little while, and I'll start making videos again here in probably a couple months when it gets closer to school and I know a little bit more about what's going on. Talk to you guys soon.